Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call to order the Wickliffe City Council meeting of April 10th, 2023. Sandy, please call the roll.
Gallo. Here. Gerhardstein.
Here.
Jaworski.
Here.
Navarre.
Here.
Kosky.
Excused.
Saloto. Here. Thielman.
Here.
Entertain a motion to allow the council president from abstaining on the voting minutes for March 27th.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Jaworski, seconded by Councilman Gerhardstein to allow Council President Levon to abstain from voting on the council meeting minutes of March 27th, 2023. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Gallo.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Navarre.
Yes. Approval of council meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the council minutes from March 27th, 2023.
I'll second that.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman, that the council meeting minutes of March 27th, 2023 be approved as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Gallo.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Navarre.
Abstain.
Saloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Reports and communications from the Mayor, Safety Director.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to start off and say, Miss Deborah Doles, I'd like to thank her for her years of service to Wickliffe, and I wish her the best on her next endeavor. And with that said, tonight we'll be appointing a new finance director, Shalandra Hunter, who's in the audience, and she will begin next Monday, April 17th. Ms. Hunter is a well-educated business professional, and she is going to be an excellent fit for Wickliffe. So I wanted to welcome her and say, thank you to Debbie. Next, this Wednesday, April 12th, is our State of the City, State of the Schools event. We will meet at the community center at 6:30 and have presentations from many of our administrators and the school superintendent, Joe Specia. Also, NOPEC will be there for a 10-minute discussion on if anybody has, just to get informed on what's going on with NOPEC. This Friday afternoon, Chief Ice, Chief Powers, Councilperson Gerhardstein, and myself will be presenting at the scaled-down version of Student Government Day. The school noted that they plan to go back to the old version of Student Government Day next year, and that's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the Mayor, Safety Director? Councilman Gerhardstein.
Debbie, I'm going to honestly say I'm sorry to see you going. So, you've helped me a lot in 2 years that I've been here. So I want to appreciate for all the help you've given me for 2 years to understand the budget. So thank you.
I appreciate you too.
Councilwoman Saloto.
Debbie, I just want to thank you so much. You are going to be sorely missed, not just because you're brilliant, but just because we really love you. So we wish you nothing but the very best, and we'll be bothering you. We'll find you. We know where you live. Yeah.
You do know where I live.
Anyway, but thank you so much. We love you, and just want to welcome. We're really excited to have you on board.
Any further questions or comments for the Mayor, Safety Director? Thank you, Joe. Reports and communications from the Director of Law.
Just two minor things. One had the written report that we submitted, if anybody has any questions on that. Second is there will be a resolution tonight on the Ohio opioid settlements. Again, similar to what you guys would have done probably last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was. The only difference with this one being that this is the pharmacies that they settled with as opposed to distributors. So it's your Walgreens, your Walmart, your CVS's, those kind of things. So, but same kind of idea. I don't know an amount that we'd be expecting to receive yet, but I'll find that out as soon as I can and let you guys know. And that's all I have.
Any questions? Councilman Gerhardstein.
Lauder, can we please get a copy of the regulations on where that opioid settlement money can be spent in what programs, please?
Absolutely.
Any further questions or comments for the Law Director? Thank you, Jeremy. Communications from the Council President. I have none. Amendments or additions to the agenda. I'd like to add new business A, 2023 tax budget. Mayor?
Yes, if we can add on a new business, B, tax abatement for leisure time warehouse.
Okay, we'll add tax abatement for leisure time warehouse. New business B. Any other additions or amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to administrators. Police Chief Bice.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't have anything to add in my monthly report.
Any questions or comments for the police chief? Thank you, Chief Bice. Fire Chief Powers is excused. Finance Director Doles.
Thank you, Council President Levon. I would like to just bring out my monthly report and say that our general fund carryover is 6.9 million. And I also would like to report that our commercial card program is going very well. We've already exceeded in 4 months the first tier for our rebate. We'll easily hit the second tier. The third one's a little bit of a stretch, but I think that if it continues at this rate, that we will be able to do that, and that would give us a rebate of $10,000 if we got that third tier. Teresa's been doing a good job, you know, doing the payables with that, and so that's a good thing. And I would like to say thank you to all of you and my fellow administrators. It's truly been a pleasure to work with all of you. So that's all I have tonight.
Any questions or comments for the Finance Director? Debbie, I just want to say thank you for your years of service. I really appreciate the dashboards you created for the finance on the reports. I think that as somebody that prefers visual over just the written numbers and like that, I think it's been pretty beneficial for the understanding of where our money is and where it's going. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Doles. Engineer Formica.
Thank you, Council President. I have nothing to add to my written report other than the fact that I wrote the report just before our pre-construction meeting with the contractor doing the work on Silver Park and 294th Street, and they had informed us that they planned on starting up, I believe tomorrow. As long as, and Ron and I, we met with them, had the stipulation that the residents to be made aware of that by last Friday. So I believe notices went out last Friday to the residents, and that they're going to start their milling operations tomorrow.
Any questions or comments for the city engineer? Thank you, Pete. Service Director Strouser.
Thank you, Council President. Just have a couple things that I want to highlight that most of was in my report, but as everybody should know, Warden Road is closed southbound now, starting today. It closed about 10 o'clock. And actually, the gas company is doing a gas main replacement on Lloyd Road. Two-way traffic will be maintained all the time, but there may be some delays when they're in the road working, you know, temporarily or whatever. But they have traffic on site. I don't really know how long that project is going to last. I tried to stop and talk to the project manager today, but they weren't around. Couple little things is we did end our second and third shift for the winter now, so everybody's back on first shift. And two other things were we did receive our new street sweeper. I'm happy for that delivery, and also we did receive our new asphalt road grinder for our attachment for our Bobcat. So we're gearing up and getting ready to go for asphalt, and that's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the Service Director? Councilman Gerritstein.
So Ron, on Lloyd Road where the gas company's working and they took out all the sidewalks and some of the intersection sidewalks, they plan on replacing those in a timely manner, correct? This isn't going to be like the water department that takes 3 months or 4 months to fix something that they mess up.
No, it should be shortly after they're finished. So actually, we had a big gas line project on Douglas last year that didn't go as well as I had anticipated, but it seems like this contractor is much more on the ball.
Because pretty much the west side of Lloyd Road
Correct.
is pretty much unpassable for a pedestrian right now.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep.
Councilman Thielman.
I would just ask when you have a chance to talk with the project manager that maybe they could delay their construction in the morning until about 9 o'clock.
Till
Or
after
going
the
to one lane, because the bulk of the traffic is between 6:30 and 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Most of the construction projects should be done on the sidewalks or over and above the sidewalks once they get that initial tear out, because they are going to be doing, the gas main is going to be under the sidewalk, so hopefully they're not going to
Yeah, once they get those
Right, once they get it all opened up.
but there's
and
still.
do that, I'm hoping, there's still ways to
half
go.
a street to go,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, I will talk to him.
Councilman Jaworski.
Ron, I thought that we were going to have, as soon as we knew about it, a sign up notifying residents about the Warden Road going down to one lane, having the electronic sign out.
It is out, yeah, it is out now, but it wasn't out, we didn't put it out ahead of time. We probably could have done that, but they were the contractor, was supposed to do that, and I don't think he put his out till like end of last week, I think, so.
I've received several calls today of people upset about that,
They're
not
out now.
having any
We have-
warning.
We have the 2 city signs are out, both of our town signs are out, and as well as the contractor has one as well, so.
Councilman Garrett, sorry.
I can tell you that Councilman Thielman and I lived down there. There was no sign on Wharton Road till this morning. No lighted sign warning people they were closing it. So it wasn't on the Grand Boulevard side, nor was it on the Lakeland side.
Yeah, we didn't get ours up until
Well,
after lunchtime.
I understand, but
Yeah.
the mayor posted it that was gonna be closed. They all know it was coming. It's just that they didn't post anything till today. The big signs.
And the Wickliffe residents need to know as well. So.
Any further questions or comments for the service director? Thank you, Rob. Building Commissioner Sack.
Thank you, Mr. Councilman President. Just one thing to add, you should have all gotten an email about Wickliffe Avenue. We've been doing a lot of violations going down there, and we've been given extra time for them to get everything fixed, and if they have a big problem, they can send me an email and ask for more time if they need it, but we're not done yet. We just started on it the last 2.5 weeks, so you might be getting some calls. And that's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the building commissioner? Councilman Jaworski.
Ray, I'm just curious, is there, of all the violations being sent, a certain type of violation that is coming up more frequently than any others, or is it just kind of across the board?
Majority of it is property maintenance, Councilman. So it's, it's just some painting, some other structural things that they need to take care of, so. But we get the majority of the heavy stuff now. We're gonna go back and concentrate the next 2 weeks on the minor stuff, so.
Thank you, Ray. I hope that we can stay on top of this throughout the
Yep.
summer.
We will.
Any further questions or comments for the building commissioner? Thank you, Ray. Recreation Director, stop.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just to add to the sign question on Warden and Lakeland, we did have it running on the community center electronic board for the past week, so I know it isn't at the spot of the construction, but we did have something running there, just FYI. I'd like to anticipate a question. Our lifeguard situation is moving along slowly. We still need lifeguards, so if there's anybody that you know, send them our way. We'll be hosting a class. I don't have all the specific details yet. That'll be the first week that the pool's open. That's June 3rd. And it's kind of a slow process trying to get responses from some of our returning staff if they're coming or not. So it almost takes a personal invitation to reach out to them. So we're in that process. That's it.
Councilwoman Salota.
I have to ask again.
Yes.
Do you think if we pay better or we did
We're-
anything better, we recruit
We're
more
the best.
quality and more?
We're the best ones. We're one of the higher rates around, Maria. Just Mentor beats us
Okay.
at $14 an hour last year, and we're at 12. So
I mean, because we realize that minimum wage is
yeah,
like,
10-10.
okay. I think that's our problem, because, kids can make more money, especially right now, because there's, there's a lot of opportunity in the job market right now.
Yeah.
So we might have to.
May.
Do you want to go? I mean, Tim, do
I
you
mean,
feel?
$12 an hour, I mean, who's gonna come do something like that for $12?
Last year, we smashed it. I mean, we got all the lifeguards. They were happy for the pay. And even with Menor closing one pool, they couldn't even open both pools, and we were able to do that. And they're $2 above. So I think we're good for now. But if you feel like we should go to 13, I don't want to overdo the money, guys.
No, I think you guys can review that and figure out where you're at. I mean, that's what the administration.
If you don't get any,
Right.
then
Right.
We'll see
that's
if we're
obviously
closer.
what you need to do, right?
Councilman Jaworski.
But Tim, I think the real question is compared to last year in terms
Yes.
of the hiring process, are we behind,
No.
at the same place, even?
We're at the same place.
Okay.
Any further questions or comments for the Recreation Director? Thank you, Tim. I will now open the floor for audience participation. If anyone would like to address Wickliffe City Council, please stand, state your name and address for the clerk's record. These meetings are being recorded, so the council clerk does have a microphone if needed. Each person will have a 5-minute maximum amount of time. Would anyone like to address Wickliffe City Council? Mr. Feinrich?
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to the city engineer and the service director for stipulation in the contract for the milling of the notification Friday. That's good because, starting tomorrow, because when it happened on Esmore Lane, it was less than 24 hours notice, maybe 16, 18 hours, and we have elderly people on the street. So, I mean, it was a surprise. So thank you for doing that. And also, isn't there for the recreation director, there's a class they have to take that, like,
Certification class, correct.
right, and they have to pay for
Yes.
CPR, so,
Correct.
but you reimburse them?
And we'll be reimbursing it if they commit and work full-time for us.
Excellent, and thank you for doing that. Appreciate it. That's all.
Bill, can you state your name and address for her?
Sorry, Bill Fainrich, 549 Esmore Lane.
Thank you.
Sorry, sir.
Oh, you're good. Would anyone else like to address Wickliffe City Council? Would anyone else like to address Wickliffe City Council? If not, I'll mark audience participation closed. Committee reports. The Committee of the Whole met on April 3rd, 2023 at 7:01 PM to discuss civil service. Present, Bella, Gerritstein, Jaworski, Koski, Levon, Sloto, Thielman. Also present, Mayor Sakis, Police Chief Weiss, Engineer Formica, Building Commissioner Sack, and Fire Chief Powers. Mayor Sakis had asked the members of the civil service to speak at this meeting to address the committee on the state of the employment of our safety forces. The committee had no objections to allowing Jim Kane, Mark Iafalese, or Bob Heiss from addressing them. Mr. Kane stated that we no longer have the volume of applicants on civil service tests that we once enjoyed. There is one applicant left on the list from the last test, and we need to retest. The list of potential applicants from these tests lasts 1 year or until the list is exhausted. He also described in detail the rules and functions of the Civil Service Commission. He also relayed to the committee that other cities are aggressively advertising for applicants as well as giving signing bonuses and increasing starting wages. The main topic in discussion is whether the city should require applicants to have completed their OPATA, which stands for Ohio Police Officer Training Academy, training before we hire them. This has not been required in the past, but if we put this in place, it would need to be stated to applicants before they take the next civil service test. The commission is concerned that requiring this will diminish the amount of potential applicants and will not be beneficial to the city. Councilman Gerritstein suggested a reimbursement program might be an option. If the city pays for the employee to go through the training, they would need to stay a certain amount of years or they would be required to reimburse the city. Councilman Levon agreed and stated that if we are investing in an employee, they should be investing their time into our city. Councilwoman Sloto agreed and stated that this happens all the time in the private sector. Levon stated that he researched an example online of another city's reimbursement program and thought we can use it as a template to create one for our city. Councilman Thielman stated if the Civil Service Commission created the rules for their functionality, then they could modify them. Levon followed that by saying that the commission may want to look at the time length of the list, and if we are seeing such a drastic decline in applicants, maybe the list should have a 6-month shelf life instead of a year. The topic of lateral hires was also discussed. This is not something the police department has frequently done in the past. Police Chief Weiss discussed some of his reservations he has on lateral hires based on recent situations and a conversation with the police chief of Eastlake. Councilman Jaworski stated that he understood the chief's concerns, but he didn't want us to pass on a quality candidate just because it was a lateral move from another department. Police Chief Weiss stated that he has no issues with the lateral hires or a reimbursement program if it only affects the training dollars spent on an employee, not on their salary. The committee thanked the Civil Service Commission members for their time and their dedication to the city serving on the commission. This item will remain in committee. Meeting adjourned at 8:06 p.m. Respectfully submitted. Councilman Gerritstein.
The Legislation and Welfare Committee met on April 3rd, 2023. The meeting was called to order at 8:06. The purpose was to discuss vacant building code, vacant building fees, and time limits in Chapter 1175. Present was Bala, Gerhardstein, Koski, and Soloto. Also present, Jaworski, Levon, Thielman. Also present, Mayor Sakis, Engineer Formica, Building Commissioner Sack, Fire Chief Powers. Councilman Gerhardstein stated that prior to leaving, Law Director Zealy stated this ordinance needed to be revised to close up some of the loopholes that existed within it. Gerhardstein stated that one of the definition section that has to do with what determines a vacancy. Councilwoman Saloto stated that there was a building that had a fire in it years ago and is still not renovated 6 years later, wondering why this is not considered a vacant building and on the list. Building Commissioner Sack stated as long as one has an active building permit, they are exempt from vacant building fees. He also stated because the building is considered a commercial building, those permits are issued by the county. Saloto would like to see this change that the building renovations would have to be completed in a timely manner. Thielman asked if there was a current list of all vacant buildings in the city, and Councilman Sack answered yes, there was. Engineer Formica suggested that in the future, it might be better if the owner who is going to renovate a building appear in front of the Architectural Review Board in order to set a timeline for completion of a renovation. Chief Powers recommended to the committee to use an 8 months as a timeline frame once the renovation begins. After this time, if renovations are not completed, the building owner would have to register the building as vacant. After much discussion, the committee recommends changes to Chapter 1175. Gerhardstein and Building Commissioner Sack will meet and make the changes that the committee recommended and bring this back to committee before taking this to council. This item will remain in committee. The meeting adjourned at 8:40 p.m. Respectfully submitted.
The Safety Committee met on Monday, April 3rd, 2023 at 8:40 p.m. to discuss the safety study of Ridge Road at East 300th Street. Present Levon, Jaworski, Saloto, Gerhardstein, Bala, Thielman, Koski. Also present Mayor Sakis, Formica, Sack, and Chief Powers. Mayor Sakis said he was asked by residents why there was no light at this intersection. Pete said it does not meet the criteria, one of which is a traffic count. Other current lights probably no longer meet the criteria, but they can remain. The study recommends removing the flashing beacon because it can be misinterpreted, but we don't believe it would work. Councilman Thielman agreed with the confusion the light can cause, stating that his daughter thought it was a regular traffic light. The study recommends removing other signs on the curve, including the deer crossing sign. The signs were installed by the city, not ODOT. Councilwoman Saloto said the current signs should be left up as warnings. Councilman Bala said the turn is too sharp, the utility pole is too close. What would be the cost to remove the pole? Pete agrees the angle of turn should be widened. The study suggests adding a $500,000 left turn lane. The cost is too high. He will check with the electric company to see if the pole is in the right of way. Then they would move it. Meeting ended at 8:53. Respectfully submitted, Councilwoman Koski. Commission reports. Seeing no old business, move on to new business. A. Oh, you have a commission report?
Yeah, I just wanted
Sorry,
to...
Councilman Jaworski.
Planning Commission met on this past Thursday, and we did another workshop on the planning and zoning for Euclid Avenue, and that will be continuing throughout the rest of the year as time allows for our meetings.
Thank you, sir. Seeing no old business, move on to new business. A, 2023 tax budget. We typically have a public hearing on this in June, and then we have to pass this by the 2023 tax budget by the end of June 30th. Ms. Doles?
It would be 2024 tax.
Oh, sorry, 2024 tax budget. My apologies.
That's okay.
So we need to have a meeting on it, and then obviously advertise for a public hearing before one of our council meetings, and then have our 3 readings and pass the ordinance. So we'll put the 2024 tax budget into the Finance Committee. New business B, tax abatement for the Leisure Time Warehouse. Mayor.
So, Mr. Dallas, who owns Leisure Time Warehouse, also has a warehouse facility down Palisades Parkway, I believe, where Wickliffe Lanes USA Skating is. So he's expanding that warehouse significantly. $1 million plus project could hold up to, they're gonna have up to 10 employees there looking for tax incentives. So I said I will bring it up to council, if you guys put it in the proper committee, and then discuss this and go from there.
Okay, we can put tax abatement on Leisure Time Warehouse into the Finance Committee. Okay, move on to ordinances.
Okay, first one. Ordinance number 2023-16. by title only, and this is the second reading. An ordinance amending Chapter 549, Weapons and Explosives of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio. Ordinance number 2023-20, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of one new current model vehicle for use by the Police Department of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio, through the Ohio Department of Administrative Services Cooperative Purchasing Program and declaring an emergency.
Suspension?
Second. Moved by Councilman Baylor, second by Councilman Levant, to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2023-20 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
No.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solota.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Suspension passes.
Adoption? Second?
Moved by Councilman Thielman, second by Councilman Baylor, to adopt ordinance 2023-20 as presented. Discussion? Councilman Gerhardstein?
Yes. So the police department has 9 cars marked for patrol on their roster for the year-end budget. Their year-end report, they have 9 cars marked for patrol only. They have 4 patrolmen, sometimes 5 at the most, and they have 9 cars already. They may want a new car, but I don't personally believe they need a new car. They have a brand-new Tahoe that's marked for lieutenants, that's 3 years old already and only has 10,000 miles on it. So I believe if they really needed a car, they could take the Tahoe and put it into service and give the lieutenants a car with one of the higher miles cars that they'll say isn't, they'll say it's not safe, but, I mean, just because it has higher miles on it does not make it safe. So that's why I'm voting no, because they have a perfectly brand-new Tahoe just sitting there with 10,000 miles on it that they could put into service.
Understood, Councilman Gerhardstein. Any further discussion on the motion, on the adoption? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Nope.
Jaworski.
No.
Levon.
Yes.
Solota.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay, ordinance number 2023-21, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio to enter into an agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation for the provision of road salt and declaring an emergency.
Suspension?
Second.
Moved by Councilman Baylor, second by Councilwoman Solota, to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2023-21 on third and final reading. Discussion? Councilman Jaworski.
Based on the light winter, do we expect prices to be a little bit better this upcoming year compared to years prior, or?
Actually, I'm kind of anticipating they go up a little bit just because the profitability wasn't there this year, Everybody's at their bare minimums. But you just never know. You just never know. And unfortunately, we have to commit now to the amount of tonnage we're going to buy before we even know what the price is. This is the same way it is every year. I'm against this kind of thing, but what are you going to do? It's the way that they work. And we definitely get advantageous prices going through the ODOT contract for sure.
Do you, Ron, foresee us getting as much salt next year as we purchased this last year, considering how much we still
I'm going to commit
have?
to the same amount as we did last year, 2,500 tons, that's what I'm going to commit to. And we have to buy at least 90% of that, and we can buy up to 110 for that price. I will say that Lake and Geauga County last year was the lowest price in the state, out of all the counties in the state.
Okay, any further discussion on the suspension? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solota.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Adoption.
Second?
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman, to adopt ordinance 2023-21 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solota.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2023-22, an ordinance authorizing the Director of Finance of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio to transfer a sum of money from the general fund to various funds and declaring an emergency.
suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Sloto, second by Councilman Bailout, to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2023-22 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballot.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solot.
Yes.
Fielding.
Yes.
Ordinance number... Oh, sorry. Got ahead.
Moved by Councilman Bailout, seconded by Councilwoman Sloto, to adopt ordinance 2023-22 as presented. Discussion? Councilman Jaworski.
Debbie, just for the record, this is to move funds from the general fund to the safety services fund, the swimming pool fund, and capital, correct?
That is correct, and this has already been approved in the annual budget, and these amounts are what was not in the temporary budget, so to complete the transfers.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on the adoption? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballot.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solot.
Yes.
Fielding.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2023-23, an ordinance confirming the appointment of Shalandra Hunter as Director of Finance of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio, authorizing compensation therefore and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman, to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2023-23 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballot.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solot.
Yes.
Fielding.
Yes. Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Thielman, seconded by Councilwoman Sloto, to adopt ordinance 2023-23 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballot.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solot.
Yes.
Fielding.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2023-24, an ordinance providing appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio for the period beginning January 1st, 2023 and ending December 31st, 2023, and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Bailout, to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2023-24 on third and final reading. Discussion? Councilman Jaworski.
Debbie, the funds for the Opticon, where is that coming from within this ordinance?
Where is the
Is
expense?
is it coming out of service or is it coming out of police and fire?
It was coming out of traffic, the traffic section,
So that's ultimately paid by the service department, correct?
out of the general fund.
No, I still feel that this is something that should be split up between the fire and the police department, not the service department.
Mayor?
Doesn't it ultimately come from the general fund at the end of the day?
Yes, it does.
Right, because I discussed this though prior, and it's always been taken out of capital, right? So for the traffic, because I know that was one of the questions that came up, so.
Councilman Gerhardstein?
I think what Councilman Jaworski was trying to state was that he thought it should come out of the current budget and not add anything to the budget that we just passed a month ago. I think he was trying to state, am I correct, that it was trying to come out of their current budget, so we didn't add, so we wouldn't have to come out of the general fund. It would come out of the budget they have now. Or at least should come out of the capital and not take any more money from the general fund.
Correct. I mean, I think based on what we've seen come through savings-wise with purchases for police and fire, that would be available in capital and qualify for capital through what's been left over from those two departments.
Councilman Gerhardstein?
So since the police car passed and the chief's car came Tahoe came under budget also. Those funds were already allocated for in capital improvement, correct? So there's a couple $1,000s from each of those that were over budgeted. So again, I'm not trying to put words in Councilman Jaworski, but I feel the same way, that if It's overfunded. We started capital improvements with 145,000 carryover from last year anyhow. That wasn't appointed for anything. So I think that those funds that were in there, plus the couple thousand from the Tahoe and a couple thousand from the car, I agree with Councilman Jaworski that it should have been funded some other way other than coming right back out of the general fund.
Well, you do have a stay still. It's not definitive already, right? Voting on this ordinance determines whether it comes out of the general fund.
Correct.
Okay. Any further discussion on the suspension? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
No.
Jaworski.
No.
Levon.
No.
Saloto.
Yes.
Leoman.
Yes.
The suspension does not pass. It'll go on to second reading. Resolutions.
On second reading, resolution number 2023-05, a resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio to enter into a community reinvestment area agreement between the city of Wickliffe, Ohio and Wickliffe Gas and Go LLC. Resolution number 2023-06, a resolution authorizing the Director of Finance of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio to issue payment of Community Reinvestment Area Compensation Agreement to the Board of Education of the Wickliffe City School District for tax year 2022 pursuant to Resolution number 2020-08 and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilwoman Sloto to suspend the rules of council and place Resolution 2023-06 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yep.
Saloto.
Yes.
Leoman.
Yes.
Suspension. Adoption, I'm sorry.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Bala to adopt Resolution 2023-06 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Leoman.
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-07, a resolution to accept the material terms of the One Ohio subdivision settlement pursuant to the One Ohio Memorandum of Understanding and consistent with the terms of the National Prescription Opioid Settlement and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilwoman Sloto to suspend the rules of council and place Resolution 2023-07 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Leoman.
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilwoman Saloto to adopt Resolution 2023-07 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Leoman.
Yes.
Other legislation. Miscellaneous, Councilman Jaworski.
I would like to call in a improvement committee meeting to discuss the Rockefeller Road sidewalks. That's currently in committee for next Monday at 7 p.m.
Okay. So improvement committee to discuss Rockefeller Road sidewalks at 7 p.m. on Monday, April 17th. I'm going to follow that with a committee of the whole meeting on the civil service. As I hope to have a reimbursement program to present as a template for us to look at. Any other miscellaneous? If not, entertain a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion, we adjourn?
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilwoman Sloto to adjourn the meeting. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Leoman.
Yes.
Yeah.